Welcome to This Week in BJJ, the only show running the gamut of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and running it live every Friday night.
Hello guys, welcome to a new episode of This Week in BJJ. Today is October 5th. I'm Budo Jake, and I'm here as usual with Budo Dane. Dane, you look a little sore today. What have you been up to?
I did the 4-day Dracolino camp, and
on October 7th,
I train
2012.
usually 2 hours, 4 or 5 days a week, and I was like, 4 days a week, 2 hours, I'll be fine. No, after the first day, I woke up, achy. The second day was just as intense, and the third day was supposed to be, it's supposed to be part of the taper, and it didn't really feel like a taper because there were a bunch of black belts we were training with. So it was great, but I definitely paid the price for that week.
This is the Dracolino training camp to get guys ready for the Masters and Seniors Worlds.
Masters and Seniors World, yeah.
I went on Monday, and I thought it was an incredible camp.
Yeah.
The way he laid it out each day, having a different topic. What would have been some of the highlights?
Actually, the format of how he was training, about how we were doing, specific training followed by active rest, which was usually drills that he would show beforehand. So the fact that you're always working, but you're working on techniques while tired, really, I think hammered home. If you're trying to do something wrong, you would just be like, I am too tired for this. And for me, it hammered home, if I was missing a detail, what I was missing or where I was missing it.
Right, and just to clarify that, I thought that was really cool too. In between sparring sessions, you'd be doing drills with your partner, so you never really got a chance to just sit with your back against the wall resting. You're always doing something. What do you call it? Active relaxation or
active recovery.
Active recovery. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Then he split the entire class up into weight classes, which was another added benefit. When you're getting ready for a competition, the last thing you want to do is fight against big guys.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get paired up with a guy that's 220 when you're 175. I remember looking over to the group, and there were some big guys there. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely an injury prevention measure right now.
Right. Do you think doing that kind of intensive camp the week before a competition is too early?
If it were me, I would have done it 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
And then because we've done this. Like I generally don't like to train like 2 or 3 days before I compete. Maybe I'll go and find a partner and move around, but I don't like to train 2 or 3 days before. So I think it would have been better a week before. But that said, I picked up so much from it that I think even if I were doing Worlds, I would have done the camp anyway, and I would have taken a lot from it.
Right.
So.
Cool. Well, before we get too much into the news, I want to thank our new sponsor, Ahi Tuna Jerky by Itsumo. This is the stuff that I snack on all the time. I'm not a big of a snacker, but if you're going to snack, you might as well do it with something that's healthy. This is made from Japanese sashimi-grade ahi tuna. It's high in protein, high in DHA, and low in fat. You can save 10% if you buy it off of Budo Videos or itsumoahijerky.com. Use the coupon code BudoVideos.
And everybody that's eaten it said they can tell the difference too.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
So this weekend, we're gearing up for, our crew's been scrambling around getting ready for the Master Senior Worlds, and it looks like to be a big event. Big names coming in. Jandy Ribeiro is signed up. Saulo Ribeiro signed up. Alberto Crane. Vitor Chalin is in there. Brandon Mullins. Hobson Mora. There's some big names coming for it. One thing that, this is kind of an aside. One thing I've heard a big resounding is I think a lot of people wish this was a 2-day event because they had to cut off registration early.
Yeah, about a week or 10 days earlier, one of the two. And this is the first time they had it in the U.S., so I don't think they knew exactly how big it would be. But there's like 33 pages of competitors.
Right.
It's huge.
So I think that question's been answered. I think next year we'll probably see a 2-day event.
I would agree with that.
Do you have any fights that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, it's great seeing some of these old-timer guys. And just because they're older doesn't mean that they're not talented. It's quite the opposite. These guys have been around for a long time. They've probably seen the old school and the new school techniques. Hobson Mora is going to be exciting to see.
Awesome match.
Vitor Ribeiro, Chalin, Eduardo Tellez. He's just moved to San Diego, so he'll be competing. Can't wait to see him back on the mats. Tusa's always exciting.
Always.
Gustavo Dantas is always great. And, of course, the Ribeiro brothers.
For people that are newer to the sport, or, I've been around and I haven't seen, a lot of these names, firsthand in jiu-jitsu matches. This is kind of I don't know, it's not a last chance at history, but it's kind of a chance to watch history. You know, it's my first time seeing some of these guys go for it, and I think that's really cool.
Right, and you never know how many more times these guys will compete.
Right, exactly.
So great opportunity to see them. We'll be broadcasting all day long. It's going to start at 10:30 in the morning and go till probably 10 at night.
Yep, I'll be there all day, so you can catch my bad humor on the social media. And we're only going to charge $9.95 for the whole day broadcast, and that's all the matches and all the mats. So if you can't make it, hard to say how you're going to find a better deal than that.
Yep. Even if you can make it, sometimes it's better to watch online.
I've been told that from a couple of people that I heard a guy brought his laptop. He was like, "Oh, the best seat I got was on the live feed."
Right.
So I was like, "Wow."
And I've even seen some people sitting in the crowd watching the live broadcast.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, you hear the commentary and all that. Oh, so that is this Sunday, October 7th. The following week, October 14th, there's two events, Metamoris, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, and also the ADCC North American Trials. That is one way to get to ADCC if you're not invited.
Right.
Which just last year, Jeff Glover was the one that made it through the trials.
Right.
So this would be a good opportunity for you guys. If you want to sign up, just go to adccna.com. And we're going to go there and we're going to film the matches, and that'll be available on demand a little bit later after the event. It won't be a live broadcast, though.
But it's good. It's a cool event. I mean, you see great jiu-jitsu, great grappling there.
Yep.
So, little news about Metamoris, the event that's going on the same weekend. October's delivering, right?
Sure is.
It's been a roller coaster so far. John-Jacques Machado's versus Nelson Montero is off. Nelson is recovering from a car crash, so it's not even a training injury. We were hoping, he would get better, but he unfortunately had to step out, and no alternate match has been announced. So, Nelson, all the best. We hope you get better.
Yep, for sure. There is a new product available on demand. Jeff Glover, one of the most exciting guys in the sport. I went to his seminar where he showed his favorite gi techniques. It was actually a two-part seminar. Earlier in the day, he showed his favorite gi techniques, and later in the day, his favorite no-gi techniques. Jeff's the type of guy that he doesn't do a lot of gi-specific moves, so even though it's gi moves, most of them will work without the gi. But he showed a lot of cool things, and one of them that he showed was his brand new 7-year-old choke, which if you haven't seen it or felt it, that's a technique, that's a choke that you want to learn.
I have from a certain someone across the table from me, and trust me, you guys want to learn this one. It's tough.
It's a good one. So that being said, let's take a look at the preview clip of the Jeff Glover favorite gi techniques.
So now I go boom, right to the 7. And if you do it right, you shouldn't hurt the guy. And you don't want to drop your knee on their toes. Don't be this dude who goes, boom! Break his toe. Don't be that guy. So you're here, right? Right. Now the way you hook them is once you get here, this leg comes in here, and push.
So that is available on demand on BudoVideos.com, $9.95, and it's over an hour long. So a lot of techniques in there for you guys.
The on-demand thing's cool. That's actually how I prefer to get, technique videos in general, right?
Yep.
So I came across this interesting link earlier this week, and it talked about the history of the belt system in Jiu-Jitsu. And it was Pedro Valente, who I didn't know this, but he's kind of a Jiu-Jitsu scholar or a historian. He really tries to research and kind of keep the roots of Jiu-Jitsu alive. And he mentioned that the belt system has its roots in Judo, and then he kind of digs deeper and goes to where the belt system in Judo came from. And I'm going to show a bit of the video about that, but one of the myths he dispelled was that there's this myth that judo or grapplers would wear a white belt, and what happens is through the years, through the sweat and grime of rolling and training and competing, it would eventually turn black, which is given extension to think that you should never wash your belt. And Pedro said out and out that it's wholly a myth, and that it actually comes from Jigoro Kano. We have a video on this about where the black belt, the idea of the black belt actually came from. So I think we have a video. Let's watch that right now.
Thank you for having me. And this is a very interesting question that you asked. and one that I have spent many hours researching, especially because many students ask about the origins of the coveted black belt. And there's many myths associated to the history of the black belt. The most famous one is that students would all start in the old days practicing with a white belt, but as time went by, through many years of sacrifice and hard work, the belts would become dirty and eventually become black. So the black belt symbolized years of hard work and practice of the martial arts. In fact, there's no basis in history for this story. It's a very nice story that symbolizes hard work, but apparently that's not how colored belts came about. Actually, it's a very simple story. Jigoro Kano, who's the father of Judo, he was very involved with recreational sports. Actually, he was the Asian member in the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, and he was also very involved with high school education. And in swimming in Japan back in the day, advanced swimmers wore a black ribbon around their waist. And probably that's where he got the idea to separate advanced students from beginner students. So in the Kodokan, the school that he founded in 1882, when students completed a very basic curriculum of techniques, which he considered to be the core of Judo, the fundamentals, when students completed that, they would wear the black belt. So it was a way to separate white belts, who were beginners, from black belts, who were not necessarily advanced, but who understood the core of Judo and were ready to start advancing through the degrees, through the dans of the black belts, which represented steps into the highest knowledge levels of Judo.
That was some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, so there's a whole video, it's like 10 minutes. It gets into the whole, how Helio and Carlson kind of shaped their belt system as well. So I'll put a link in the show notes, but yeah, you should really check it out. It's a cool bit of history there.
And he goes on to talk about the Gracie belts, as you alluded to, and they're actually, I want to note that they're different than the IBJJF belts.
Right.
So interesting history, and he has a lot of great videos.
Right.
One more news topic before we get to Andre Galvao, and that is Rickson Gracie is starting a new MMA organization. And Rickson's been vocal about his opinion that he's not too into current MMA.
Right.
So he's going to do it himself. On November 22nd in Rio de Janeiro, he's going to debut his new MMA organization. It's called Maestres de Combat, translated as Masters of Combat. And he has pretty ambitious plans, 7 shows for 2013. He's going to have Pride-style rules. The first round is 10 minutes, the second round is 5 minutes, and Gracie style, no points.
Right.
And if something goes the distance and there's no submission or no knockout, then there'll be 3 referees. The referees are the referee in the ring, the audience, and Rickson.
Right. The audience thing I thought was kind of bold. Is that by applause? It's going to be weird to see how they...
It's going to be an applause meter.
Right. The enthusiasmometer or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, he's been really vocal. I mean, I read an article in Gracie Mag where he said that MMA is now all about blood and money. And so his impetus for this was to bring back the old style martial arts value behind an MMA competition. Mm-hmm. So...
That'll be interesting. I think MMA needs something to spice it up a little bit.
So with these longer rounds, do you think that, like a 10-minute round, do you think that is going to change the balance of like striking versus grappling, what it favors? Or
yeah, I would think that it would favor the grappler over time.
I think so.
I'm a big Pride fan, so anything that gets us back into that that days, I'll be happy to see that. So. And
from what I can tell, it was Pride rules as in soccer kicks and some of the more brutal techniques, right?
I didn't hear anything about that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's rough.
Currently no talk about how you're going to see that in the U.S., but it will be broadcast in Brazil. Hopefully some way it makes its way over here.
Yeah, I'd love to see something like that.
All right, guys, we're going to be back with Andre Galvao. Before we do that, we're going to leave you with a clip of the World's Masters and Seniors. We'll be back with Andre Galvao.
That's the head. When you step in, you go.
Do another commercial. Jake's not ready.
It's not me, it's him.